First story, my best friend, whom I treat like my sister, and my so-called friend created a group chat just to humiliate and mock me. Now they have planned a prank to trick me into falling for a girl. But they don't know that I know about their group chat, so I pretended to like them and ghosted everyone. I'm Ron 28 meters, and I am currently living with a roommate. Emma fake name's 27 feet. She is my younger sister's best friend, and I have known her since we were kids. Originally, my sister was living with us, but she left to study abroad, and now she lives there with her fiancé. It's her late aunt's apartment, so she lets me stay there without paying rent. But we share bills and chores. Great deal if you ask me. I never had a problem with me and Emma living together. There were never any romantic feelings. Both ways, I respected her boyfriends, and she respected my girlfriends. I think of her as part of my family, like a sister. 2 months ago while she was taking a shower, I saw a notification on her phone with my name on it. And I looked at it and it said, "I found the perfect girl for Ron's prank." I got curious and opened her phone. Since I know her passcode there, I saw how basically all our mutual friends, except a few, I had from my army days and my childhood best friend who lives in another city, were all members of a group chat that started a month ago. And there they were all sharing memes and gifs mocking me about my appearance, and basically I became equivalent to ugly to them. I couldn't understand why they were so mean. Since I genuinely thought we had a good relationship and friendship, as I was scrolling all the way back, I found out that everything started after my roommate told one of her friends that she's so horny, she's thinking of effing the old and fat hobo who's sleeping on our rooftop. Sometimes her friend replied that, single too, and she could F me, and my roommate answered that she's not that desperate yet, and they both share laughing emojis and stuff. Then they kept at it by posting puking emojis when they talked about how they imagined I had a ex, and then other friends started getting into the joke, and soon they created an entire group just so they could share humiliating posts about me. They even started using "I would rather F the hobo" as an inside joke, which I heard them say a few times, but didn't know what it meant. Until now, I was standing there reading all these comments, feeling numb, and not knowing how to react. They also planned to put a prank on me. They would have a really pretty girl flirt with me and ask me out. And when I would go to the date, she would stand me up, and they would have a bet on how long I would wait for her. Obviously, since I knew their plans, I rejected the girls' advances too, I imagine all of them in surprise. Now I am not insecure about my appearance. I know I am not good look, but I never had trouble finding girls. And despite what they wrote, they didn't make me feel ugly or sorry for myself. I am just hurt that they would do something like that since I never did anything to warrant. Such mockery, of course. I am more hurt about Emma, and I am mostly confused. Since I know she cares a lot about me. 3 years ago, I had a motorcycle accident and she practically slept in the hospital for the 10 days I was there. And after we came back home, she helped me all the time until I got better. So I don't know why she would do something so mean towards me personally. I think it was just a joke comment that got out of hand. After that, I stopped hanging out with them. I started using work as an excuse, but I limited my interactions with all of them, including Emma. If I knew they would be at home, I would stay longer at work or go for a walk until they left, or I would go out with my other friends if they suggested a night out. I would say I was tired from work or sick and wouldn't go. I've cried a few times. I stayed home thinking about the whole situation. Emma asked me the other day if everything is all right, and I told her I had some pressure at work since I am aiming for a promotion. That's not a lie, actually. Our company is opening a new branch in another city, and I was originally asked to relocate there, but I declined since I would be all alone and had to start my social circle from zero. But after that, I talked with my boss, and I agreed to relocate once the facilities are ready, which is January 2025. According to schedule, I haven't told anyone about this yet. The reason for this post is that about a week ago, I once again looked at her phone to see if they keep the group chat there. I saw that they kept making fun of me, but some of them pointed out that I stopped interacting with them and wondered if I was all right, or if something happened to me. One even asked if there's a chance I know about them making fun of me, but they all dismissed that, saying they haven't said anything, and they even dared to say that even if I knew, it's all harmless anyway. Emma told them about my promotion, and that convinced them that I am just stressed about work. And then, about work. They continued mocking me with memes this time about my job. I don't even know their motives at this point. I don't get it at all. I realize that there's no going back anymore, but I also realized that in the last 2 months, I haven't had any fun. So my plan now is to keep pretending I don't know anything, but start hanging out with them again because since I won't see them anymore, after 5 months, I can at least have some fun. I used to like going out with them, so for the next few months, I can pretend they're still my friends. We actually do plan to go out all together to see a movie. And then for some drinks when the time comes and I am ready to leave, I will leave without informing anyone, including Emma. Once I am out and away, I will block them all. Besides Emma, since I care about her and want her to know that despite anything, I am there for her, and if anyone tries to contact me or pretend they care about me leaving, I will simply send Emma the screenshots of their chat, and I hope this will shut them up. Anyway, sorry for my English. I am not a native speaker. Thanks if anyone read it. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect all the support and love. Thank you. I realize that it's a situation that most people wouldn't want to be in. So, treasure your real friends. I want to clarify some things. As I mentioned in my post, I do have friends outside that group. I have my army brothers that we meet twice a month and message a lot who I know have my back, as I have theirs, and my best friend who lives in another city that will be very close to me after I leave. It's basically an hour of driving. We talk daily, and I think he'll be excited once he finds out. I am going to be so close to him. The people in the group chat are mostly our mutual friends from university or past jobs. Not all of them talk bad about me, but they're all members there. So I guess it's the same in a way. They usually hang out at our place where we watch movies, play board games, etc. I feel bad for losing them, but it doesn't compare in the thought of losing my best friend or my army brothers about my sister. I didn't tell her because then she would tell Emma, and then they'd all know, which is what I've been trying to avoid if I wanted them to know. I would tell them I am not afraid to tell them because I am desperate for their friendship. No, I don't want to tell them because I don't want the drama. I want to avoid it. I work more now in my job to learn my new role. So the last thing I want is to deal with all that drama of fake apologies, etc. I would rather be just me pretending I don't know than all of them pretending they are. Sorry. I understand why some people don't want me to hang out with them and just expose them and everything, but it wouldn't benefit me to do it all. I would gain is drama and awkward situations. I would rather focus on me planning my departure, getting ready for my new role, and figuring the aftermath. In the meantime, I don't think it would do me any good to end things with them. Now I figure I can't make new friends or seek a GF in this city since I am leaving, so I can manage a few months in their company instead of closing myself off. Edit 2. I wasn't expecting so much attention, TBH, and it's not something I wanted. I just wanted to vent, get it out of my chest and move on with life, maybe have a few comforting comments or even have someone point out my fault, but it's been only a day, and I see there's too much traffic to my story, and it makes me uncomfortable. I want to thank you all again for your support. Honestly, you seem like a great community. I will try to answer as many comments as I can. If I don't, I am sorry. I guess since a lot of you asked this of me, I will update once everything goes through, so maybe in a year or earlier. I hope I won't forget about this post and the love you showed me until then. Bye, why, and take care of yourselves. Second story. My gay son ran away from home, thinking I wouldn't accept him due to my homophobic views. It's been 2 years and I just found him, but my other son knew where he was all along and stayed silent, betraying me. Should I reconcile with my son? Hello, everyone. I don't know if this is the right subit as I am new to it, so don't hesitate to tell me. So I am a 42-year-old dad and I have a wife. Let's call her Amanda. We have 2 sons together. Let's call them Wyatt, 20 years old, and William, 18. The thing is, since my oldest turned 18, we have been no contact to make it simple on his 18th birthday. We had planned a party, but when we got home, he was nowhere to be found. Most of his stuff was gone. My son moved out at 18. We didn't know why, and it's been 2 years he's blocked us. Us all, even his little brother, whom he was so close to just the day before leaving. It's tearing the family apart. Amanda still cries herself to sleep. Sometimes William is a shell of himself, and so am I. He isn't staying at extended family's house, so until now, we really had no clue where he was. But last night, I was at a restaurant with coworkers. When I saw one of his high school friends, we started talking about it. He saw how desperate and heartbroken I was still 2 years after, and I guess out of guilt, he actually told me what happened. Basically, we are from Idaho, and he moved to Seattle for a fresh start. Apparently, my son is gay, and he preferred to cut contact with us instead of coming out to us, and then supposedly being disowned. He apparently said he believed we would prefer to have no son at all than a gay son. And I mean, I understand where he is coming from. Living in a small town in Idaho where everyone knows each other and goes to church, I get why someone like him would be so scared to be true to himself here. But I am going to be honest, I don't care. It was a shock. Sure. A hard pill to swallow. I've even shown homophobic behavior before, but when it comes to Wyatt, I realized I just don't care. I just want him to be happy. I just want my son back. I spent the whole day trying to find his Instagram. And I want to tell him how much I love him and that I don't care, but I don't know if he would like. That he left for a reason. If I contact him. Also, I didn't tell my wife, William, or anyone else, should I? Has no consent. A spot op. Received the majority of YTA relevant comments. Commenter 1, sadly. YDA, why would you think your son would feel comfortable coming out to you if you have been homophobic before? And I have news for you. Being homophobic but not when it applies to your own son makes you even worse in my eyes. Anyone who feels fine hating on somebody else's child but changing their tune when it's their own speaks to their lack of character. Your son left, hoping for a better life? Leave him alone and hope he has found it. If he ever wants to contact you again, let it be his decision. I think you should tell your wife, and your other son, William, should know why his brother left, so he doesn't feel any guilt about it. Thanks for the harsh but necessary truth. I will work on myself. This whole ordeal has made me realize what kind of person I am, and I don't like it. Also, I will tell my wife and son. Tonight, responds to multiple comments on needing to do better for his orang son. I am willing to change for my son because I love him so much. I believe that his decision made me realize how much I failed as a dad, and I owe him this. I am truly ashamed. He felt he had to cut contact to be himself. So, yes, I will accept him, thanks. So much commenter, too. So here's the thing. You created an environment where your child did not feel safe. In fact, he felt so unsafe that he left without even a whisper that speaks volumes to me. But then you literally cyberstalked him to find him on Instagram? Do you honestly believe that this will make him feel safe? It won't trust me. My advice, if you truly want to change your ways, start by volunteering for causes like Trevor Project or something similar in your area. Start becoming involved and making a true difference in the world so other kids can have a safe space when their own parents reject them. If your church teaches homophobia, stop attending that church and find one that is inclusive. They do exist, believe it or not. Basically, I am telling you to start working on the man in the mirror and be the change that your son would be proud of until you do that. You have no hope of reconciling with your son. Do not contact him. Let his friend know that you would like to speak with him, but let him make the first move. Do better. Commenter 3, why Taya for having made homophobic comments in front of your gay son, which ultimately made him feel unacceptable to you. But I do feel if you are ready to truly accept and love the man he is, then some effort to heal the divide between you is an order that said you have to be willing and able to accept him. Not just be nice at first and then try to change him. He clearly left because he knew you would. Harangue him for this. I have a gay grandson. Sadly, for religious reasons, his parents do not accept him. It was a very painful journey for him, but he has worked through this, and now he totally rejects his parents. It's a mess, but I can tell you that my gay grandson is one of the finest persons you could ever find, and that to me is what matters. In the measure of a man, don't bother to try to reconnect unless you can truly stand up for him and accept him. He left. I would suspect because he could not count on you for this kind of treatment to answer your specific question, NTA, for wanting to reconnect with your estranged son, if you can do so with an open heart and mind update. 2 days later. Hello, everyone. I posted days ago about my oldest son, Wyatt, who moved out at 18 because he was gay and scared of rejection. Your response was overwhelming, as harsh as it was. The truth was necessary. As you advised, I decided not to contact him yet, ready to make efforts to prove to him I've changed when I do contact him. But I also decided to tell my wife and my other son, William. So I sat them down and told them what I told you guys, how I met one of Wyatt's friends when I was out, how he told me everything about Wyatt and how much we should love and support him regardless of who he is. ETC, and that's when the shocking news comes. William already knew everything apparently 6 months after he left. Wyatt called William and told him everything. William didn't tell me much about what was said, but I know that they kept in contact. They text on a daily basis and that Wyatt asked him not to tell anything to us. William always loyal did. Just that, long story short. My wife was crying because she didn't realize how awful she had been acting, and William ended up texting Wyatt to tell him we knew somehow and that we loved him no matter what. Then Wyatt called me later, and while it was awkward at first, it quickly got better as we were catching up on life, that he was struggling with student loans, but that he was still doing great. I offered to gather money for his tuition, and he said, "I will think about it." We talked a lot more. It was mainly my wife and I apologizing and telling him how much we love him no matter what, and that we're proud of him, that we are willing to change for him. He said he will be calling us in a few days and he will maybe visit this weekend. I genuinely didn't expect things to go this way, and I realize I am so lucky he's even willing to talk to me. I swear I will make it right and love him. No matter what relevant comments, commenter 1. You and your wife are really lucky. He will even talk to you. I can only imagine what he heard over the years from you to make him leave the way he did op. I am well aware of this chance and extremely grateful for it. I will make it up to him, no matter what commenter. To well done, a tip: I know you offered money to help out, but right now, it can come across as buying forgiveness or bribing him. If you do want to help him financially, it's important that you clearly communicate and stick to that. There are no strings or conditions attached if you give him money and then bring it up. When he doesn't visit often enough or doesn't forgive you fast enough, then you've poisoned the well twice over. Let him know that you want to help, but understand that it's not a fast ticket to his good graces and that you won a push it up. Thanks for the advice, commenter. 3, you doing exactly what a good parent should, taking responsibility, owning your mistakes, and showing unconditional love. The fact that Wyatt is open to reconnecting speaks volumes about his love for you too. Despite everything, it's amazing that William maintained that bond with his brother and that your family is taking steps to rebuild trust and create a more supportive dynamic. Keep showing up for Wyatt. Words are a great start, but actions will show him you truly mean it. Wishing your family the best as you move forward. Together, 3rd story. I just found out my wife of 30 years cheated on me 15 years ago after reading her diaries. Any suggestions wife was having? Emotional affairs 15 years ago. Like so many. I never thought I would be posting here. My wife and I are both 60-ish and married for 30 years. I have been in a dead bedroom since my kids were born. Over 20 years ago, I lived with that for many years, believing that if I was not wanted, I would not want. Almost 2 years ago, I realized that I could no longer deal with that. And after some months, I had the talk. We have been sporadically working on it. At first, I was resentful and demanding. Then she took 10 months of no actual contact to feel secure and decided to invest in my happiness. Since then, we have been attempting repairs and fits and starts. Most recently, there's been a month with no activity, in part due to illnesses and things arising, and in part, in my view, avoidance that flipped a switch for me. I came to the conclusion that this Leal space was more than likely the way it was going to be, that put the burden on me to decide whether or not to live out the rest of my life that way. Yesterday, I was tidying up various piles of stuff, including some papers and pocket-sized notebooks. I had already put them in the discard pile, but then opened one to make sure it wasn't anything cute from the kids when they were young. Nope. It was my wife mooning about whether she was truly in love with him. It took me a while to accept. It was her. I wanted to refute the handwriting. I recognized. It was also hard to tell who the guy was. Unbelievable to me, it's an older 1,520 years older. Family friend from abroad who is in town once or twice a year. Like many stories here, it was about her getting lots of attention from him at a time when I wasn't. I guess I remember working on that back then. Here's the wrinkle: she never did anything, said anything to him, and he never went out of bounds. Just this obsession on her part waking up, thinking of him going to sleep, thinking of him including physically. The notebooks covered about 6 weeks and ended inconclusively. That is, she knew she had to refocus on her marriage but still had feelings and thoughts. She talks about not wanting to hurt me and preserving our marriage. It gets worse. She had a similar Ewan acted upon dance with a good male friend and collaborator. It went further in that they talked about it and he wanted to take it forward and she declined. She has continued to be good friends with him since, though he married, divorced, and is now in another relationship overseas. She said she wanted him twice at various points. She also said she flirted shamelessly and had infatuations, but this type of head over heels was not often. I've been a zombie, trying to go through the motions, but audibly sighing and groaning at times. Of day, my wife has been sick, so she is less aware of my condition than she otherwise might be. I was feeling so bad about taking any actions that would endanger what we had just for SX boy. I sure don't feel bad about that now. I was the breadwinner for 30 years, laid off, and haven't been able to get a job in a year. My wife has prospered in her career and is making close to what I was. My inclination is to attempt to get by. Normally, though, I don't have much of a poker face figure out what to do next. Ask some lawyers for an interview, I don't know. Which way is up? I don't know how I feel. I guess I need to get my options in order. If we split ourselves and our assets without an income, I will not be impoverished, but not in very good shape either. If the first 15-20 years of my marriage had these two serious episodes, what's been happening in the latest 15 years? How many non-serious fling were there? Did she have physical one-night stands that didn't mean anything? I mean, if she could allow herself to love someone, what would be the big deal with a little relief? She had desire, just not for me. If she's been hiding these episodes for 15 years, how can I believe anything she would say? I'm going crazy, trying to think what to do, including confrontation, after I understand my options backed up by a demand for a polygraph, which sounds absurd. Except to those of us in this predicament, what I would like is for any longtime marrieds who have dealt with such a situation to tell me what steps you took and what worked or didn't. I've been on Reddit for dead bedrooms, so please limit responses to those that have actually lived it, not the knee-jerk divorce suggestion. Not that it's out of the question. Update TLDR. 30-plus year marriage, 20-plus year dead bedroom. Stumbled on diaries a week ago of my wife. Having chastely loved 2 men in 2010, one of which is a long-term thing. We had been working on DB repair with mixed results. This is an interim and non-dramatic update, really long and likely boring, but it's my life, so move on. If it's not of interest to you, I have seen a lawyer. My financial situation is not great. As I've been unemployed for a year, I would be uncomfortable but not impoverished in a split. I do expect gainful employment at some point, I hope. As a 60-plus-year-old, the 2 senior aka a too expensive thing is a hurdle. I am pursuing things at much, much less than my prior pay. I have been sharing my travails with a family member and finally spoke to my therapist, who I had engaged in recent months over the DB. No particular revelations here, but she did encourage me to have the conversation less confrontationally and more openly. That is, help me understand on a tangent given. My wife asked me to clean up the contents of the box with the notebooks in question. How did she somehow want me to find this? Maybe she wanted to, but could not initiate a split. The therapist also suggested that at least now I have a trigger for decisive action one way or another. I told my shrink of my intent to ask an open-ended question at first to gauge honesty. For example, I have come to learn of some things now. Is the time to tell me anything you've hidden that is deeply hurtful to me? Or our marriage, I might get more info, I might get no honesty, which tells me what I need to know. I think it's worth a shot. I went and looked for other diaries and found more infatuations. 27 to 2011, at least 3, but none called love like the first 2 men. The short-term family friend, I might maybe have been able to dismiss as a passing obsession. The long-term friend, let's call him Brian, since that is his effing name. is mentioned as the one she's always been in love with, and vice versa with mutual desire. Now that I know my options, I will have the conversation Sunday morning. If I can keep it together that long, I have been visibly sad, but my wife's illness lately has allowed me to distance myself. Though surely she is noticing that I am not touching her, though I do not recoil when she hugs me. I've realized that the prior status quo I was resigning myself to is out the window. That is, while my wife has no desire of her own, out of love for me, she will accommodate me now and again, I would ask, and she would every once in a while take care of me because she loves me, as distasteful as it must be me not being whoever the F else is in the mental rotation. To know that I have been sidelined in her heart and mind, even if she was chaste, which I am not at all sure of, is not a state. I can be an ongoing, I deserve more. The long-term love she has had with Brian and mutual desire is unacceptable to me to have deceived me and had him on a string. As another potential, I will not be a supplicant for my wife to be physically intimate with. I will not love her more than she loves me. I spend so much mental bandwidth on her mood, how I can accommodate her, and what small things I can do to make her existence a bit easier, all the while she dreams of other men. I will not be the safe option to sail off into the gray sunset with I must be some's one and only, mentally, physically, everything. I guess I can no longer have that at this age, but what we have now is not enough. I must have more, and she can only give what she has, which is financial and emotional support, and being a steady partner with love but not in love. As they say, that is reserved for others, I suppose. I will go to counseling. I would consider separation. Do I file for divorce on the pro side? What is going to change here? I am not going to suck it up. And my wife is who she is. If counseling is in the cards, could the divorce process run simultaneously? Asset division negotiations would be an interesting test of commitment on the con side. Shouldn't I do anything I possibly could to rescue this? Chances seem low, and I am enraged at times, mostly sad. My face feels like it is going to fall off on the other hand. Congrats to my wife for putting me over the edge with the last 7 pounds to hit my weight loss. Target all of which is, since I found out 9 days ago. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.